you know, how could this have been preempted from your security, you know, standpoint?
Well, thank you. First of all, let me give a background to what is going on. I have had the opportunity of perusing the Global Terrorism Index report. Their latest was published in 2025 by the Institute for Economics and Peace. I'll read you some sections of the report. It says, terrorism in the Sahel region has increased significantly, with deaths rising nearly tenfold since 2019. In 2024, the Sahel accounted for 51% of all terrorism deaths globally, while overall conflict deaths in the region exceeded 25,000 for the first time since the inception of the index. Of these, 3,885 were attributed to terrorism. Terrorism deaths here are now 10 times higher than in 2019, and the Sahel region remains the global epicenter of terrorism, accounting for over half of all terrorism-related deaths in 2024, with the number of countries affected actually increasing. 5 of the 10 countries most impacted by terrorism in this region. Although Burkina Faso remains the most affected country, both deaths and attacks declined, falling by 21% and 57% respectively. However, the country is still responsible for a fifth of all terrorism deaths globally. As a counter-terrorism specialist, Samson, I've done a lot of work in this area. I have sat on an Okada from Burkina Faso into Ghana. I have done a great deal of assessment in the area, and I have first-hand understanding of what is going on there. You read a statement from Dr. Baumia talking about deepening ties with our neighbors. It's a good call, but you remember what the former president went to say in Washington, that there were activities of Wagner and all that in Burkina Faso, and it didn't go down well with them. And it strained our ties until His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was elected. A lot of work has gone into mending those ties. That is why I was not surprised in the first place when Traore came to town. And a lot of commentary went into that. But the thing is, we cannot fight it alone. You see, because of the tightly knit nature of our society within the West African subcontinent, whatever happens in one country can easily spill over into another country. That is why sub-regional and international cooperation is extremely key. It is very regrettable that this has happened. And I must say, I have spoken with sources, with different stakeholders, from national security to civil society organizations. And I do know for a fact, with documentary evidence, that a lot of work had gone into that already, because it is not the first time. And I'm going to use this opportunity to correct a lot of misconceptions out there with no facts that they attacked Ghanaians. No, they didn't attack Ghanaians. And there is sufficient evidence to prove that they didn't attack Ghanaians. And the National Security Coordinator is up to the task. And a lot of work is being done in that regard. You see, the way you manage situations when things happen is extremely critical. So first and foremost, when the incident happened, the Ghana and Burkinabe authorities sprang to action. There was a visit to the Ghana consulate in Burkina Faso by the Deputy Burkina Faso Foreign Affairs Minister and the National Security Coordinator. Quickly, in partnership with the Ghana authorities, a befitting burial was organized in a marked grave for those who were killed. Those who were hurt were quickly evacuated to 37 Military Hospital. And those who survived when they entered Ghana, were given both chaplain and psychological support. Logistic support was also given, and various stakeholders have in the past been engaged, including Tomato Sellers Association, the transport associations, on matters concerning their safety when they get out of jurisdiction, because like I indicated, it is not the first time. For example, in 2019, 2 Ghanaian drivers were killed in a terrorist attack close to the Burkina Faso-Mali border. The acting chairman of the Joint Association of Port Transport Union, one Alhaji Shamsu Baba Yaro, disclosed this to Ghana's media. The 2 Ghanaians were even named, one Mohammed Momin and Suleiman Garba. Also, 2 Ghanaians were killed in Mali some time ago near a town called Kalana, close to the border with Guinea. In 2023, for the first time, Samson, Jenin issued a threat through its propaganda media wing to Ghana over the repatriation of some Fulanis from Ghana. So this is not new. And I can say confidently with documentary proof that the national security and other stakeholders have been engaged repeatedly. There are letters to that effect. But sometimes these things happen. Unfortunately,
what do you mean by have been engaged repeatedly? What does that mean?
They have been engaged on certain protocols. You see, it is not everything you put out there. Sometimes you would have to target. You see, when you put it all out there, you might teach or show the terrorists how to change their
So when you say they have been engaged, does that mean that that gave us the opportunity to preempt this?
Absolutely.
So this could have been preempted?
Like I indicated, okay, a lot was preempted in the past. It is very regrettable that this wasn't preempted. Yeah. Even though a lot of work, advisories were issued in the past. Okay? And that area is quite...
So that what? You sit in your country and then you preempt, you know, a security situation in another country. Is that it?
No. If there is a deep sense of collaboration between Ghana and Burkina Faso, we are able to preempt some of these things from happening in the first place, okay? In some instances...
What will the preemption, what form will it take? And in the past, when it happened, what form did it take?
Well, it can be based on intelligence reports. That points to the fact that terrorists intend attacking a certain facility and so take immediate steps.
Within a certain time?
Within a certain time, okay? And this doesn't only even happen between countries, amongst countries within the sub-region, even international partners who have ears on the ground.
So if the security intelligence get to know that, what do they do?
Immediately, they action. They engage relevant stakeholders.
So that they would have gone to these traders and say, don't go to Burkina.
Don't go at this time.
All right.
Or use that route, okay? Or take certain measures that I might not be able to say on TV to ensure this doesn't happen.
Or travel
and you know,
at all.
Samson, the thing is, because I come from a civil society background, I have a lot of information from Burkina Faso. As a matter of fact, I have persons who are on the list of the media propaganda distribution list of these terrorist groups, including Jenin. And so based on open source information, this attack was coordinated, and it wasn't only targeted at the Ghanaians. Different sites were attacked on that day. Some attacked the arterial routes, just like it is happening in Mali. In some cases, the terrorists have a tight noose around the capital to ensure that supplies don't get in, they don't go out, because they know it is a function of the state. It makes the state effective, okay? So they attack the arterial routes. Some attacked telecommunication networks, whilst another group attacked a market where the Ghanaians were. So it was not only Ghanaians who were killed in that attack. Many others, including a military barracks, was attacked that day. Okay, so civilians were killed, soldiers were killed, and after that, JoyNews issued a video praising their soldiers for that attack and even indicating the number of persons they had killed. In some cases, they go to communities and attack civilians because, one, they want to send a clear message that you dare not cooperate with government. They want to instill fear.
Do you see anything concrete happening on the back of this that will stop any future occurrence?
Absolutely. The Ghana authorities are in constant touch with the Burkinabes. In fact, on Thursday, our Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Sam Okudzeto-Ablakwa, arrived in Ouagadougou, and he was received by the Burkinabe Foreign Affairs Minister. A lot of work is going into this. Investigation has started, but let's be mindful of the fact that this is jurisdictional in nature. Titao is over 300 kilometers from Paga. You don't just, so when I hear people talking about some of these issues, I cringe because you don't just dispatch investigators to Burkina Faso. No, it has to be done in line with certain practices, okay? Because we are talking about Ghanaians going into Burkina Faso. And we are, I must say, without mincing words, that the government is getting almost a perfect cooperation from the Burkinabe counterparts, and progress is being made. I cannot say all on TV, but surely a lot of lessons have been learned, and going forward, certain practices would have to change to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
All right. See, and you have repeated, is that they didn't target Ghanaians.
Absolutely.
But so there were other casualties.
So when they identified that they were Ghanaians, if the jihadists don't have a reason because of whatever information is available to them, the fact that Ghana's position today encouraging the relationship or supporting the work of the Burkinabe government, and so if jihadists have issues with the government, they would reasonably see Ghanaians as a means of attack.
So that's your point.
Exactly so.
That's President Mahama or Ghana's relationship with Tuareg is to blame.
They are all mixed and they are all part. These are all matters that if you are talking about your intelligence and security briefing and the relationship, our foreign relationship and our engagement with our partners in those countries, we should also be careful about the way we respond to these things.
What happened to good neighborliness? What should the government of Ghana be doing? Say that because you are undemocratic, we don't want to have anything to do with you. Is that it?
No.
Okay.
We've had several instances where there have been military juntas across West Africa. There's been position of ECOWAS in these matters. Governments of Ghana have always called for these countries to come back to multi-party democracy. But then, if you put a posture whereby you go ahead and endorse to the extent that in celebrating your independence, you invite that government into your territory, into your celebration with arms on him, then what kind of security signal are you giving to the nation? And secondly, he talked about intelligence and preempting these matters. How come we did not get this intelligence? What has been the tribal advisory that we've been talking about? If your intelligence is apt and right, you would have sent signals to Ghanaians that because of this situation, our review have indicated that there are heightened security concerns. And so travelers be guided. Why are we now issuing travel advisory today and not then? If our security was on point.
It was. Advisories were issued.
When?
In fact, advisories were targeted. Advisories were issued.
To who?
To stakeholders. Like I indicated, the tomato sellers,
When?
the transport unions
When?
over